meeting of, we're August 6th, 2013. If we could please stand to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect.
All right, we'll start with new business. We have a receipt of plans, a sign permit, Farouk Ahmed for the Carver Gas and Convenience.
Unfortunately, well, let me start. Mr. Ahmed, isn't it? Farouk, Mr. Farouk owns the Carver Gas and Convenience Store, which is next to the Ben Ellis down in South Carver, and he wanted to have some directional signs. And he has submitted an application, but we found out today that he owes back taxes. So I left him with several messages, and so did the tax collector. And I'd like to just keep the file open and see if he can rectify this, and we'll certainly entertain it. But I don't have anything for you at this moment.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, moving on, we can go to a receipt of plans, a special permit, site plan review, crop production services, Marion Drive.
I've been telling you for months now about what I call Agway, just because that's how people recognize it. But crop production services are currently on Plymouth Street, right near the Plymouth border. And they are looking to move and start a brand-new facility on Marion Drive off of, again, Plymouth Street, but on the Middleborough end. We've already had a preliminary meeting with them, and they've now submitted. It's about a almost 13,000 square foot office, retail, and warehouse building. This is on the water system, and it certainly seems to have, it's perked with the septic system, and preliminarily, it looks like it certainly meets all the zoning requirements. We will have make sure we do our due diligence with fire protection and some of the other things we always do, but I'm looking to set the public hearing, and I will then tell you about the technical review committee.
Do you have any dates in mind, Jeff?
I do. September 3rd at 7:15.
Do we have a meeting that day?
I'm hoping. Are you away?
Yeah, it's just, isn't it Labor Day weekend or something?
Yeah, it's the Tuesday after Labor Day.
Is everybody here?
I'm just taking a quick look.
Let's
at
check.
the
I need
calendar.
4. And I
What
think
did you
Kevin's.
say, September 3rd?
I'll be here.
See, Bruce and I are old school. I don't know if Kevin will be back.
Oh, that's right.
Chad will be here.
Okay.
It says I'm here. Just don't know if I'm here or there. It's really all.
You're here.
You got a time?
7:15?
I'd like to make a motion to set the public hearing for crop production services to September 3rd at 7:15.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will also tell you that we've set the TRC meeting for August 22nd. And obviously, we'll have a site visit after the first hearing and all that stuff. We gotta really take care of this one from a fire and public safety point of view. And I've had at least 3 meetings with the deputy fire chief and the building commissioner, so we're on it. We're just not there yet, but we'll make sure we protect everyone.
All right, planning board notes, I guess, because we have a public hearing at 7:15. It's not 7:15 yet, so we can go on to, if anybody has any planning board notes.
I do.
Go ahead, Rosemary, please.
I just wanted to give everybody an update on the medical marijuana committee, where we are at. The group decided, the committee decided to select 2 people to work together to come up with some bylaws. It was Robert Tinkham, health agent, and Jack Hunter, Director of Planning and Community Service. So if I'm correct, Jack, you and Mr. Tinkham will put together some bylaws for us to review and go over and tweak when necessary.
Correct. I've already done one rough draft. I have to go over it again, and then I'll meet with Rob, and we'll try to get you a good version for your next meeting, which I think is the end of August.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
I'm good. Quiet time.
Wow.
Planner's notes.
Just a few things. I've been working actually on 3 RFPs. One is for, as you know, town meeting has authorized CPA monies for the purchase and rehab program. We did go out to bid. Unfortunately, we only received 1 response. That's the bad news. The good news is it was a very competitive response. We have a subcommittee that went over it last week, and we are interviewing the applicant, which is TRI Resources out of Falmouth, on Monday at 4 o'clock. And then that recommendation of that subcommittee will go to the full partnership on Monday night, and then eventually to the town administrator. So we might be up and running sooner than later.
Good.
I've also, and this one I picked up when Rick, the former town administrator, left. He asked me to pick this up, but I've been running and working on a RFP with the Atwood House. A couple months ago, they received CPA monies to do a new roof and a new electrical system. And we've had many meetings on it. I had a meeting today about it. And we are weeks away from having that RFP hit the street so they can get a new roof in and a new electrical system. It's really phase 2 of the 3 phases to renovate that wonderful building. So we're getting there. And the last 2 pieces is probably next week I'll finalize a RFP to use the North Carver landfill for a solar project. We are making it optional of either a straight out lease and we don't buy the electricity, or a lease and we buy the electricity. Seems like there's some people interested, so the chairman of the Board of Selectmen had asked me to put that together, and we should be ready to hit the road next week, I'm hoping. Last one is very interesting, especially, and BDC's been watching this, is that the Whitworth property auction is scheduled for this Monday at 11. A lot of interest. There's a lot of rumors running around that the bank may have sold it already. I've seen no cancellation on it, but it's going to be very important to the town of Carver who buys that property. And so I'll be there.
Good.
That's what I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Jack. Well, we can go on to the approval of the minutes of July 16th.
I was not here for that.
Correct. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of July 16th as submitted.
Can 2 vote?
Yep,
on this?
you have
Okay.
to second that.
I'll second that. And now that we have a second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I'll abstain.
and 1 abstention.
Wasn't here.
We can have time for correspondence.
There's only one, and that's, at your last meeting, you had asked about the, directional sign that was at the intersection of Main and South Main. I wrote the letter to the building commissioner, and he's already removed it. I think that was Mrs. Hanlon's request.
Yes, thank you.
Already taken care of. And that's all I got, and you still got a couple minutes. I don't know if there's some other items we can talk about. I can talk about that I should have added this to my planner's notes, that I've been working with the Buildings Study Committee, and I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, that they've asked me to try to find a public agency that would do a peer review of the work they've been doing. And what they've been trying to do is come up with the financial models for a new police station, a new fire station, and a new elementary school, and also properly locate them. They're getting closer. They're getting closer on all three fronts, and they thought it would really help the town if a neutral, non-biased party comes in, takes a look at all the work they've done and what has been done in the past, interviewed all the stakeholders, police, fire, schools, town officials, and then test whether their assumptions are correct, their financial assumptions and how they cite the property, and come back with a report that's a neutral report, so that if they're going in the wrong direction in any way, they can tighten it up and then be ready to present it to the town. They've interviewed, I've sent out 4 requests. The Donahue Institute and the Dukakis Center. Donahue Institute's at UMass Amherst, Dukakis Center's at Northeastern. Both weren't interested, they're too busy. But I did get a scope from the Collins Center, which is at UMass Boston, and the Center for Economic Development, which is out of UMass Amherst. They interviewed with me last night, Dr. Mullen, who heads the Center for Economic Development, and they're interviewing the Collins Center on the 19th. They're gonna whittle that down to 1, and then they're gonna present that to the selectmen on the 27th to see if that's something that they would entertain. And they're gonna have to find a funding source. I know they're working with the Redevelopment Authority and Finance Committee and some others to try to find the monies to pay for it. So,
That's interesting.
yeah, it is. I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea to test. You know, it's been such a long, arduous trip to get this to where it's at, and it's failed 3 times, the school, the police fires failed once. I think a neutral party coming in and saying, yeah, you were right about this, you're wrong about this, here's how to, maybe they'll get us to where we need to be.
That sounds like an excellent idea. Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll go on to, under old business, 7:15, we have a public hearing, Form C, Sunshine Preserve Rocky Meadow Development Corporation. And this was a continuance.
Well, it was a continuance, and if you'll see, there's 2 letters in your packet that I'll need action on. The first one is a request for another continuance for 2 weeks, which I'll talk about. And the second one is that they agree to extend the date on the planning board's action. With a subdivision, you only have 60 days to act, and we're getting very, very close. So that extension has to be under mutual agreement. So I think the first piece of action would be that you would hopefully vote to extend the deadline for 60 days from today, which would make it October 6th. The second piece of action would be to continue the hearing till August 20th.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to to extend the 60-day period to October 6, 2013 for Sunrise Preserve subdivision.
Sunshine.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chair, to schedule the next public hearing, continue the public hearing for Sunrise Preserve subdivision to August 20th at 7:15.
Second.
Motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Now, I will tell you, I have received revised plans for Rocky Meadow, and I have asked and distributed the plans to all the department heads and to Sean. And because this may end up in litigation, I've asked that we receive in writing from every department head and Sean a sign-off on the plans. I will say today I got a sign-off from Sean, which I thought would be the hardest one to get. I have talked to the building commissioner, I've actually talked to the building commissioner, the Board of Health agent, and the deputy fire chief. I don't know if they'll have comments, but they're prepared to write me a letter. They haven't reviewed them yet. So my goal on the 20th is to present to you either more comments that have to be addressed, and we'll have to continue it again, or write-offs from everyone, and then I'll recommend you close the hearing. And then I'm probably gonna want a couple weeks to draft a decision to make sure we get it right, because it may affect something.
Okay. Got a tickle. You all set?
So,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Rev?
Good night.